Why you do this? Understand yourself. How do you slowly end up living a life that doesn't feel like yours anymore? Not in one big decision, but in small ones that felt completely harmless at the time. You chose what made sense, what felt safe, what people expected, and nothing about it felt wrong. In fact, it often felt right. That's why you didn't question it. That's why you trusted it. So you kept going, step by step, until one day, something didn't feel the same anymore. You're doing everything you're supposed to do, but it doesn't feel like it's leading anywhere that matters to you. And the worst part? You can't clearly explain why. So you start telling yourself, maybe this is just how life is. Or worse, you stop questioning it at all. You stop checking in. You stop listening. But what if it's not? What if the reason you don't know what you want anymore is because you've been following something that was never really yours to begin with? What if you didn't lose direction, you slowly replaced it with what was easier to justify, instead of what was harder to feel? And by the end of this video, you'll see exactly how that happens, and why most people don't realize it until they feel completely lost. But more importantly, you'll understand why it feels so hard to break out of it. Because it's not just about choosing differently, it's about risking things your brain sees as survival, approval, safety, stability, belonging. It's about going against patterns that once protected you, and how to actually start taking steps back toward yourself, without blowing up your entire life. It doesn't happen all at once. It's subtle. You make choices that feel reasonable, practical, expected. You say yes when it makes sense. You follow paths that seem stable, and nothing feels wrong in the moment. But over time, you start noticing something. You feel less clear, less certain, less connected, like you're living, but not fully inside your life. Like you're playing a role you got really good at, but never actually chose. And because you got good at it, no one questions it. Not even you. Here's what most people don't see. Every time you choose something that feels right, but not true, you move slightly away from yourself. Not enough to notice, but enough to shift something inside. Because your decisions don't just shape your life, they shape your relationship with yourself. And over time, that relationship becomes quieter, weaker, harder to access. And when that happens, you stop trusting your own signals. You start outsourcing your direction, to logic, to expectations, to what works. And the difficult part is, many of those choices are rewarded. You get validation, approval, stability. People see you as responsible, put together, on track. So externally, it works. But internally, something feels misaligned. And that misalignment doesn't always feel dramatic, it feels subtle. Like a quiet frustration you can't fully explain. And sometimes, you only feel it in rare quiet moments you try to avoid. So you fill those moments, just to not feel it. And this is where it gets real. Because it's not just, follow your passion. There are real things involved. Money, security, expectations, what your parents think, what your friends expect, what feels like the safe path. And sometimes, you've already tried going your own way, and it didn't work. You got burned, it failed, you felt stupid for even trying. So choosing safety again feels logical. Because pain teaches fast, even when it teaches the wrong lesson. And your brain remembers that pain more than it remembers what you actually wanted. Your system starts adapting. You learn to focus on what makes sense instead of what feels true. You start filtering your choices through logic, expectation, and outcome. And slowly, your internal voice becomes quieter. Not because it's gone, but because it's no longer leading. Because your brain has learned, being yourself might cost too much. So it chooses protection over expression. And over time, this creates something confusing. When you finally ask yourself, what do I actually want? There's no clear answer. Not because you don't have one, but because you stopped listening long ago. And now, everything feels distant. Like trying to choose a direction when you've been following maps made by other people. So instead of choosing, you hesitate. Because nothing feels fully yours anymore. And this is where it becomes undeniable. Because your body knows, even if your mind doesn't. That low-level tension, that heaviness, that lack of energy, that feeling when you think about your future and nothing lights up. That moment when you realize you're not excited, you're just continuing. And over time, that turns into quiet numbness. Not burnout, not breakdown, just absence. So the pattern forms. You make choices that make sense. Those choices get reinforced, so you trust them more. But the more you follow what makes sense, the less you follow what feels true. And the gap slowly grows, until one day, you don't recognize your own direction anymore, and you don't know where you left it. At a deeper level, this often starts early. You learn what's good, what's expected, what works, and without realizing it, you begin prioritizing alignment with the outside world over alignment with yourself. Because belonging matters, and losing it feels dangerous, especially when being accepted once meant being safe. Over time, this becomes identity. You become the one who has it together, the one who makes smart decisions, the one who stays on track, but inside, you feel less and less certain, because your identity is built on decisions that weren't fully yours. And the longer you stay there, the harder it becomes to question it. Because now, changing direction doesn't just feel risky, it feels like losing who you've become, and that's what makes people stay. But when you see this, something shifts. You stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "When did I stop listening to myself?" And that question changes everything. Because now, the problem becomes visible, and what's visible can be changed. Because the truth is, your direction was never gone. It just got quieter, covered by noise, expectations, other people's opinions. So reconnecting doesn't start with a big decision. It starts with noticing what feels interesting, what feels heavy, what feels alive, what drains you, even if it looks successful, what pulls you, even if it doesn't make sense yet. Because your signals are still there, they've just been ignored. Because reconnecting with yourself doesn't feel safe at first. It feels uncertain, unclear, even uncomfortable, because now, you're stepping outside the structure that's been guiding you. But that discomfort isn't a sign you're wrong. It's a sign you're finally moving without a script, and that's where most people stop. Not because they don't know what they want, but because choosing it feels like risking too much. And fear will always sound logical when it's protecting something familiar. It will always have a good argument. So here's where it becomes real. You don't fix this by blowing up your life. You fix it by changing your direction, slightly. The next time you choose something, pause, and ask, is this safe, or is this true? Then take one step toward what feels more true. Even if it's small, say no once, choose differently once, follow curiosity once, because that's how you rebuild trust with yourself. Not through big risks, through repeated honesty, through proving to yourself that your voice still matters. And over time, those small choices create a completely different path. The fact that you're still here means something. Part of you is starting to notice the disconnect. You're not lost, you've just been following something that slowly moved you away from yourself. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. So maybe the real question isn't, what should I do with my life? But, what have I been choosing that never actually felt like me? And what would happen if you stopped choosing safety just a little? Not completely, just enough to hear yourself again. Because the life you want isn't something you need to find. It's something you've been slowly ignoring. Something that's been there the whole time. And here's the real question. If nothing was at risk, no judgment, no expectations, who would you be? And what would you finally stop tolerating?